I discovered that Vladimir Nabokov had, as usual, raised this very issue many years before. It is strange that the tactile sense, which is so infinitely less precious to men than sight, becomes at critical moments our main, if not only, handle to reality. For Nabokov's Humbert, touch was so infinitely precious an experience that even the merest tactile contact with his beloved Lolita aroused overwhelming passions. For all of us, this experience of touch is intrinsically emotional, and this is reflected in common expressions in English. In the dialogue that opens this chapter, phrases like, "I'm touched by your concern," or "I didn't mean to hurt your feelings," and texture metaphors like, "You're so prickly," or "That's rough," or "You slippery son of a bitch," don't stand out at all. We are completely accustomed to describing a wide range of human emotions, actions, and personalities in terms of our skin senses. I was touched by her thoughtfulness. It's a sticky situation. That's enough of that coarse language. That is one hairy problem. He rubs me the wrong way. In everyday speech, the tactile is so entangled with the emotional that when we encounter someone who is emotionally clumsy, we call him tactless. Literally, he lacks touch. This may seem like a silly question, but it's not. Why are emotions called feelings and not sightings or smellings? Do touch metaphors really tell us something about the skin senses and their relationship to human cognition, or are they merely a common usage of present-day English? In fact, the constructions "I'm touched" to mean I'm emotionally affected and "my feelings" to mean my tender emotions have been in use in the language since at least the late 13th century. And such expressions are not unique to English or even the Indo-European language group, as they are found in tongues as diverse as Basque and Chinese. People who are blind or deaf from birth will, for the most part, develop normal bodies and brains, apart from the visual or auditory areas, and can live rich and fruitful lives. But deprive a newborn of social touch, as occurred in grossly understaffed Romanian orphanages in the 1980s and 1990s, and a disaster unfolds. Growth is slowed, compulsive rocking and other self-soothing behaviors emerge, and, if not rectified, emergent disorders of mood, cognition, and self-control can persist throughout adulthood. Fortunately, even a relatively minor intervention, an hour per day of touch and limb manipulation from a caregiver, can reverse this terrible course if applied early in life. Touch is not optional for human development. We have the longest childhoods of any animal. There is no other creature whose 5-year-old offspring cannot live independently. If our long childhoods are not filled with touch, particularly loving interpersonal touch, the consequences are dramatic. The critical role of touch in early development has not always been appreciated. Child-rearing advice of the 1920s from the psychologist John B. Watson, the founder of the psychological movement called behaviorism, cautioned parents about spoiling their children with physical affection. Let your behavior always be objective and kindly firm. Never hug and kiss them. Never let them sit on your lap. If you must, kiss them once on the forehead when they say good night. Shake hands with them in the morning. Give them a pat on the head if they have made an extraordinarily good job of a difficult task. While most partners today do not restrict contact with their children to an occasional pat on the head, it's a different story outside the family. In our zeal to protect kids from sexual predators, we have promoted no-touch policies for teachers, coaches, and other supervisory adults that, while well-meaning, have the inadvertent effect of adding to the touch deprivation of our children. As these kids have grown up in a touch-phobic environment and propagated these fears to their own children, our society as a whole has become further impoverished. You may ask, okay, I understand that kids are sensitive, but once we become adults, why does it matter if we're touch-deprived? This touchy-feely stuff is for hippies and time-wasters. Just squirt out another glob of hand sanitizer with that deeply satisfying blorp.